For KTN.
Well, deep cracks are emerging between the executive led by President William Ruto and the legislature, following the accusation by President Ruto that legislators have been extorting money to pass key legislations and to give favorable outcomes of deliberations within the presence of Parliament. After boycotting parliamentary proceedings on Tuesday morning, parliamentarians are seemingly retaliating, targeting to shoot down key pieces of legislation fronted by the executive. But can they sustain the onslaught? Jeff Kirui interrogates.
The accusations by President William Ruto has parliamentarians now retaliating, slamming brakes on key motions and pieces of legislation being fronted by the executive. On Tuesday, the members of the National Assembly boycotted the morning session, forcing it to adjourn till afternoon for lack of quorum. In the afternoon, when they returned, members were ready to send a message to President William Ruto by rejecting a motion on sessional paper number 2 of 2025 to privatize the Kenya Pipeline Corporation.
They had to use tactics to delay the report and debate for a report for the Kenya Pipeline, the sale of Kenya Pipeline. And I will tell you for free, Parliament will not allow the sale of Kenya Pipeline. So ajipange.
Members generally wanted to defeat the bill. They had to buy time so that the session ends before the vote was put. So I can see Parliament now changing, because had the question been put on the vote on that motion, the House would have failed it.
A session that also turned hostile towards President William Ruto as members turned the heat on him for throwing them under the bus even after facilitating the executive to have its way on controversial pieces of legislation, including the 2024 Finance Bill and Housing Levy.
What has this Parliament not done for President that he now has to come and bastardize us? What? Let him do his job. And why he's also involved in corruption, we'll follow him.
It is pretentious for either the executive or the legislature to be shocked that the kettle is black, and the pot also complaining that the kettle is black.
However, for some, the friction between President Ruto and the legislature is a blessing in disguise to entrench the principle of separation of powers.
We had allowed the executive to capture Parliament to a large extent. And that's why I'm saying that what has happened is good for the country, because now members of Parliament have realized that they have been extending a lot of favors to the executive, thinking that they will also be respected by the executive.
When the executive and the legislature are not reading from the same script, then that heightens the antenna of individual legislators. It breeds some level of independence of thought.
But can the legislature seize the moment to set boundaries?
One would want to sleep and dream that this is actually real. I would be surprised that it lasts long. We will see the weeping and camaraderie playing back as long as the president is back from his Asian trip.
The executive will be keen to utilize the recess period to calm the storm. The Senate will resume normal sittings on 9th of September and National Assembly on the 23rd. Jeff Kirui, KTN.
Well, from Parliament to State House, and in a move that has ignited national debate,